God has something big planned for you. Hello, my friend. Have you ever felt like life is too small for your dreams? Like there's something more waiting for you, but you just don't know what it is? Today, I want to tell you that God has something big planned for you. Yes, you. Not just your neighbor or your pastor, you. The Creator of the universe has a personal and powerful plan just for your life. Jeremiah 29 verse 11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. This verse is one of the most quoted promises in the Bible. It reminds us that God has a purpose for every season of our lives, whether we're in a time of waiting, growth, or abundance. His plans are always good, even when we can't see it right away. Think about Noah. God asked him to build an ark before there was even a sign of rain, Genesis 6. To everyone else, Noah looked foolish, but God had a bigger plan. The ark wasn't just a boat, it was the salvation of humanity. Financial connection. Imagine starting a business. At first, it may seem like a small idea, but with time, effort, and faith, it grows into something much bigger. God works the same way in your life. He's planted seeds that will flourish into a beautiful harvest. Trusting God's timing. Ecclesiastes 3 verse 1. There is a time for everything, and a season for every activity under the heavens. Life is made up of seasons, some are for planting, others are for waiting, and then comes the harvest. God's plans often take time to unfold because He is preparing you for what's ahead. Rushing ahead of His timing is like trying to harvest a crop before it's ripe. Think about David. He was anointed as king when he was just a boy, but it took years before he actually sat on the throne, 1 Samuel 16. During that time, God was preparing him, teaching him courage as a shepherd and humility in the wilderness. Use the waiting season wisely. Just like a business spends time in research and development before launching, you should use this time to grow your skills, deepen your faith, and build your character. Ask yourself, what can I learn right now? Maybe God is teaching you patience, perseverance, or trust. Write down 3 ways you can grow during this season. For example, 1. Learn a new skill related to your career. 2. Spend 15 minutes daily in prayer or Bible reading. 3. Build meaningful relationships that align with your faith. God's plans are bigger than your dreams. Ephesians 3 verse 20. Now to Him who is able to do immeasurably more than all we ask or imagine, according to His power that is at work within us. God's plans for you are bigger than anything you can imagine. Sometimes we think too small, because we don't fully trust God's power. But God wants to exceed your expectations. Imagine a child asking for a single toy, not knowing their parent has bought them the entire playground. God doesn't just want to meet your needs, He wants to bless you abundantly. Look at Joseph. He started as a slave in Egypt, was thrown into prison, and eventually became second in command to Pharaoh, Genesis 41. Joseph's dreams seemed impossible at first, but God's plan was bigger than Joseph's imagination. Think of a small investment that grows exponentially. For example, starting with a small business idea and turning it into a franchise. That's how God works, He multiplies what you give Him. Practical application. Dream big. Write down your goals, but don't limit them to what you think is possible. Ask God to show you His vision for your life. Take steps of faith, even if they seem small or insignificant. Overcoming doubts and fear. 2 Timothy 1 verse 7. For the Spirit God gave us does not make us timid, but gives us power, love, and self-discipline. Fear and doubt are natural, but they are not from God. Fear tells you that you can't succeed, but God says you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. Philippians 4 verse 13. Think about Peter walking on water, Matthew 14 verses 29 to 31. When he focused on Jesus, he did the impossible. But the moment he looked at the wind and waves, he sank. The same happens in our lives when we focus on our problems instead of God's promises. Practical steps to overcome fear. 1. Identify what you're afraid of. Write it down and pray over it. 2. Speak God's promises over your fear. For example, say, God has not given me a spirit of fear. 3. Take one small step of faith today. Even a little progress builds momentum. In business, fear of failure can stop you from taking risks. But the greatest successes often come from stepping out in faith. Trust that God is with you in every decision. Faithful obedience leads to blessing. Proverbs 3 verses 5 to 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to Him, and He will make your path straight. Obedience is the key to unlocking God's big plans. Sometimes, God asks us to do things that don't make sense, like stepping away from a secure job or giving generously when finances are tight. Trust that His instructions are leading to something greater. Abraham obeyed God's call to leave his home without knowing where he was going, Genesis 12. Because of his faith, God blessed him abundantly and made him the father of many nations. Pray for clarity and courage to obey. Start with small acts of obedience, like serving in your church or helping a neighbor. Trust that God is aligning your steps with His purpose. God's plans include blessing others. Genesis 12 verse 2. I will make you into a great nation, and I will bless you. I will make your name great, and you will be a blessing. God's plans for you aren't just about you. They're about making a difference in the lives of others. When you're blessed, you're called to be a blessing. Joseph's position in Egypt wasn't just for his benefit. God used him to save countless lives during a famine, Genesis 50 verse 20. Challenge. Ask God how you can use your talents, time, or resources to bless others. Start with small acts of kindness, like mentoring someone or giving to a cause you believe in. Romans 8 verse 28. And we know that in all things, God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose. Friend, God's plans for you are more beautiful and impactful than anything you could ever imagine. Trust Him, stay faithful, and keep walking forward. The journey may not always be easy, but it will always be worth it. Spend time in prayer daily. Seek God's guidance in every decision. Write down your dreams and align them with His purpose. God is working on something big for your life. Be ready, be faithful, and keep trusting Him. Watch as He unfolds a story of hope, abundance, and impact beyond your wildest dreams.